Today I announced that we have accepted their advice that Australia's 2035 emissions target be 62 to 70%.
Australians shouldn't kid themselves. We've heard a lot from Anthony Albanese, Chris Bowen and Geoff Chambers about hitting this 62 to 70% emissions reduction by 2035. I mean, we're already struggling to hit both emissions reduction and our 82% renewables in the grid by 2030 targets. It's a big ask for anyone to believe that the government will be able to deliver on such greater ambition, which really puts us at the top, near the top of the pack when it comes to our global, competitors and like-minded democracies. Let's be real. The 70% is for, to try and spoil the Greens and the Teals, the climate activist groups, who, by the way, haven't bought it. The real figure here is 62%. And the Climate Change Authority, their advice has been stalled and delayed. Originally, they used Donald Trump's election in November as a reason to stall it. Why did they want to stall it? They didn't want to announce it before the May 3 election. Now, right on the cusp of having to lodge the Australia's nationally determined contribution with the United Nations at the end of this month, we've now seen this advice, and Anthony Albanese has actually decided on a figure that comes in below what the Climate Change Authority was actually looking at, which was 65 to 75. So even at 62%, I think it's going to be a really big challenge to sell this thing in a way where, we still don't have a price tag on how much this is going to cost. We hear about the economic benefits, but I think a lot of Australians want to know, what is this going to cost us financially, and is this going to have an impact on the reliable energy?
And what about Susan Lee? She's struggling to even hold the coalition party room together on this issue.
So immediately after Anthony Albanese announced his new, very ambitious 2035 target, Susan Lee and Ted O'Brien delivered a scathing press conference.
Simply, these targets cannot be met. They are fantasy. We know, Australians know, and they're very disappointed in this Prime Minister.
They've completely rejected the 2035 target on the grounds that the government aren't even close to coming to hitting their existing 2030 targets. What I view this as, and this is informed, is that if you can't adopt an ambitious 2035 target, you are not going to get to net zero by 2050. This is a thorn in the side of Susan Lee. It is untenable for her leadership that she maintains this policy of net zero by 2050 that Scott Morrison and Peter Dutton took to the 22 and 25 elections. And I think this initial resistance to 2035 is a precursor to the coalition moving away from that set net zero by 2035 policy. We've seen conservatives around the world walking away from it. There needs to be a point of distinction in terms of what each side are doing. And I don't think it's ever been believable for the coalition that they believed in net zero by 2050. But in saying that, they are going to have to come up with viable options that appeases those who believe climate change is a problem and that action needs to be taken. And the challenge for Susan Lee is to bring those warring factions inside her party room together. I think bringing forward this review process and walking away from net zero would buy her time. But I think that there's a lot of pressure points for the opposition leader.